Ladies and gentlemen, studio audience, with a round of applause, let's welcome the one and only, my boss, my comrade, my master in politics, Comrade Ross. Big man. Charlie, everything cool. We don't meet. We meet for some victory.
Yeah, the victory.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie, we work hard.
You guys did very well.
Oh, Charlie, you did very well.
But we didn't go far if you have not picked the feet for us.
Oh, Charlie, how you go
It's
doing?
worth celebrating.
Oh, but it's fine. The hard work you guys put into it was very, very, commendable. Going right into it, on initial expectation versus the actual results, were you in shock? What was your initial expectations, and then the results when it came back? How was your reaction to it?
I think the result that came out of the
election and the initial expectation, what you have perceived.
Actually, we had already worked towards it. We knew we were going to win. We actually knew we were going to win across the whole nation. But then our initial expectation, when we did all the survey, we didn't know we were going to get the number of seats that we got. We knew we were going to get something around 130, 150 seats. But getting close, when we got that, we almost 160, 170. We were like, guys, we've done very well. And as we speak, we have almost 183 seats awaiting Ablekuma. So I think it was worth it. So initially, we were not so surprised, because looking at the inferior in the whole country, we knew that things were not right. People wanted a change, but we didn't know it was going to be this massive. So initially, it was not like that. But when the results came, we knew that we had really well, especially with Tema West. When we had our results that night, we actually didn't believe. We knew we were going to win, but we thought it was going to be some margin as we got periodic. But winning over 21,000 plus, I think it was just good. So, it's politics. You should await the surprises. If you had lost, it's politics. If you win too, it's politics. That's how it is.
So talking about winning with that mass votes, what do you think encouraged, or what do you think pushed that win?
I think we didn't relent on our efforts. We were so sure of all the tactics that was displayed. We had picked lessons from the previous elections. We knew that previously we had left some things undone. So we told ourselves that this time around, hey, you guys, let's all come on board. So everybody, so you followed, you saw that everybody was working. Branch executive were called to work. Council executive had a task to play. Initially, you realized that everything was led, the whole region or the whole national will be moving at a go. But you realized that this 2024 election, we had distributed ourselves. Everybody had a task. We had some JFA's team, we had national organizers team, we had the chairman's team, we had the flag bearer and his team, we had the vice president's aspirants, then her team was also going, then the constituency was working to make sure that you don't leave anything undone. So it was a strategy that we put to work that worked for us. And then Ghanaians in general, having felt that no, in fact, things were bad, Ghana was going backwards at where we left it, the economical hardship, the Galamsey issues. So it was everybody on board. So that also worked for us. And we just work, and we the media too were on board. We were making sure that every little thing you picked up, you were on the government, trying to demand accountability. I think that was what worked for us. That's what I can say.
So how did the Tema West constituency come about? How were they able to convert the NPP vote in the Tema West constituency to NDC votes?
If you watch our results previously, you realize that, Tema West is predominantly an Akan constituency. It's predominantly an Akan constituency. And then you have the Ebes following by some 26% of the whole. So you realize that the periphery, our target, usually we win the periphery. We win, we have 11 wards. And out of the 11 wards, Ajikojo was one of the biggest. If you take Lashibi, then you come to Ajikojo. Ajikojo gives us almost 100%. Ajikojo is green. Klagon is green. Lashibi, you get some plus and minuses, because this side of Lashibi was okay, but the periphery of Lashibi we were also okay. So we had picked the fit from 2016, 2020, picked all of them together, and then we knew that this was our hotspots. And therefore, how do we make sure we marshal the votes from the hotspot? So we didn't leave Ajikojo out, because we wanted to win massively in Ajikojo. And then when you come to Temame, BBC, you come to committee 5. We also felt that no, we had to gather some vote there. So we were everywhere. We didn't initially were 2020 we felt it was BBC and therefore we should concentrate on BBC so that we could bring the vote together.
Yeah.
But this time we said no, we can't bring BBC on board. Maybe we'll leave Adekojo behind, we'll leave Bachuna, we'll leave Wule, we'll leave Kasaja, we'll leave Railways. So we said no, let's marshal everything. You get it?
Yeah.
And then like I said earlier, initially, the whole influence in the country was everybody wanted a change. And then having changed their candidates and had brought a new candidate, the candidate wasn't known. Me, for say, I didn't see him anywhere. He wasn't working. You followed lawyer James Eno. You saw how massive he was. Everywhere he was, everywhere.
Massive.
He was in all the funerals. He was in all the parties. He was in all the graduation. He was speaking. He was gathering the opinion leader. Every ward had a walk. We were doing the health work, the health screening. Like we touched everywhere. The technocrats were on board. The artisans were on board. The students were on board. The executives were on board. In fact, it was a collective effort, and that's what worked for us. That's what worked for other constituencies as well. And so that's it. I think Tema Central also did something like that, but it's just unfortunate that as we are looking at. But we hope that things will be changed.
Yeah, we'll come to the Tema Central. That's very, very heartbreaking.
Yeah, very heartbreaking.
Because Ebi Bright is a very, 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 very strong kid. A woman. I call her the Yasantua of her age. She's very, very good.
Very, very.
Now, looking at what you said about the Wole and the Ajay Kojo, okay, looking at Wole, Ajay Kojo, and the other places, Klagons, and then comparing it, when you look at the geographical nomenclature, and you're comparing it to the Kasejans and then the Jatabus and co, who has the bigger share, geographical location?
The geographically.
And then my next question is, who has the people?
The people
I want the geographical location first, then we come to the people.
So when you look at, based on the branches that we speak with, Lashibi has 56 branches. So we assume that Lashibi is our World Bank. It has the numbers. Lashibi, because you could talk everybody there. We have the first class, the middle class, we have everybody in Lashibi. Then you come to Ajay Kojo, which has 36 branches. Ajay Kojo is also that big. You know, Ajay Kojo, one thing that helped us was that it is a new area, and therefore new people were coming in. So people were moving from Timamine to this place. You see, you could talk Ajay Kojo from the underbridge right to 24 Hills. You see, 2020, we had some people going to vote in Adenta, and then some people going to vote in Bonkatamanso. But 2024, we had marshaled them back into the constituency. You get it? So they also have a bigger share. So if you take Lashibi, then you should be talking about Ajay Kojo being the second. So in that order, Lashibi should be first, Ajay Kojo will follow, and then we go to Bachuna. Then for Bachuna, then you now come to the Temame. You could talk about Kasajan, you talk about Jatabu before you come back. I think Kalagon should be there because it has about 13 police stations also there about. Oh no, it's this in Community 3. That's Jatabu. Jatabu has the smallest, and then followed by I think Kalagon. So that's how it goes. But the work with concept, the periphery is predominantly dominated. So the periphery you have Ajay Kojo on this church, Lashibi in the middle, and then Bachuna at the far end. So you could pick some food from even Krowo, because we pick some feed from Krowo, because when you go to Bachuna, it shares boundary with Krowo. So we pick some from there. Like I told you, Ajay Kojo also pick some food from Adenta, from Medina, and then from Kokatamaso. Even Ashaiman, the World Bank, also give us some people because you know we trade more or less with Ashaiman. So people even confuse Ajay Kojo to be part of Ashaiman. So we also got some votes from Ashaiman. So we could talk about the periphery dominating, but because Tema has already developed, and that is where we the class they give us the support, and then you can't take Sakumono out. That's where all the ideas, the big men, the support, and all those things were coming from. So every ward had a role to play in this 2024 election.
Every ward had a role to play in this 2024 election. Okay, so that takes me to my next question. When you talk about looking at what we are talking about is the geographical areas and the people who are in, and then how do we rally behind in the NDC, because even the NPP rallied behind the NDC to give us the votes that we needed. Now let's come to our constituency executives, West constituency executives, from the chairman down to the executive members. The work they put into it. From my perspective, it was an amazing job. They worked from the chairman down to Prosper, Dela, Fauzia. Everybody did an amazing. You can't leave anybody out. How that is from my perspective, and then from the perspective of a few people that I've spoken with. From your perspective, what do you think about the Tema West?
I think you can't leave anybody out. You can't leave anybody out. Initially, when we formed the whole team, we were skeptical about a few things. We were not sure in our faith. You know, we heard of some hitches here and there among the executives. There's one thing I always tell them when I see them: you guys are human beings. You had friction among you, but you gathered your strength together and you made sure you give us the result I wanted. The chairman was fantastic. Mohammed Isa. Malam, I salute you. You are so fantastic.
Malam.
We salute you this You can't take the secretary when he was coming after him taking over from Neokai. People were like, can this guy do the work? He's not old, he's not experienced. That's Prosper. Prosper, Kosiche. We're like, no, can this guy do that? Can he deliver? But senior, once again, I give it to you. He was also fantastic.
Awesome.
Communication was another thing. Come Dela. He deployed everybody. Every week, everybody had about 2-3 tasks every week, making sure that the good news of Tema West had to go. The organizer, Tatantu, was on board. He was everywhere. Marshalling people together, putting programs together. The youth organizer and the team were also fantastic. The other executives. Like, you can't take anybody out of it. They are human beings.
Everybody has their flaws.
Like I sit here, I have my flaw. You see there, you have your flaw. They are human beings, fantastic. But one thing that was excelling about them was that they didn't let the public know what was going on between them. They put everything behind, and they made sure that they rallied behind each other. And the target was that we had to deliver. We had to have. If you take 1992, where Gladys Barton became our constituent, our MP. You know, that particular election, we always say that it is not a battle because the whole of the MPP didn't go for that election, it was not a battle. And then you came after 1994, you came to 96 when Abraham Edu got it. From then up to now, we had not gotten any. So 28 good years, we have not won the seat. So everybody was determined. Guys, this is the time. Let's make it. This is the time. Our president is coming back. So let's make sure we give him the vote that we wanted. And in fact, it was fantastic. We won for the first time. This election has been one of the biggest. The result that we got has been since 1992. The percentage has been one of the biggest. Voter turnout was 57.something%, massive. In fact, we won by 21,607 votes unprecedented. In fact, you can't take anybody out. Kudos to all of you. Timamala and your team, you did very well. You guys did very well.
And then let's come to the team, Lawyers team, the team behind Lawyer.
Oh, you can't leave the team out. Lawyers team was another exceptional one. With Mrs. Lawyer. I call her Mrs. The food masha. You see, that woman was everything.
I call her the first lady of Tema.
See that she was everywhere. You go to the ghetto, she was there. You go to the market square, she was there. I was asking her whether she has really done politics before. Because the last time 2016 when Lawyer came, she was part of the election, but she was behind. And I didn't actually like the way she did it. So this 2024, I was asking, Mommy, have you done it somewhere before? Because she knows how to touch to everybody. If she sees two people gathering, she'll stop and talk to you. She sees somebody carrying something, she'll have to help. In her car, she had little paraphernalia in her car. If it's a wristband, she'll give you. If it's a scarf, she'll give you. If it's a t-shirt that she'll take from somebody and give somebody, she knew how to play the game. If her mommy was so fantastic. As for Lawyer himself, he knew that it was his last chance. Because we had told him, Lawyer, we beg you. Malam told him that you don't want to be MP, we will make you the MP. Even if you, Lawyer, you don't want to be MP honorable, we will make sure you become the MP of Tema West. And she said, my guys, just do the work for me, I was ready. So resource-wise, he was there. Lawyer has a team. Everywhere you call him, he will come. In fact, he was a listening candidate then, and no wonder he produced the result.
Have you seen Lawyer Lily in Parliament?
Yes, I saw him. When was that? I think this week I even saw him.
This week.
This week I even saw him in Parliament.
He still looks like he has not recovered.
No, yes, so true.
He has not recovered.
Yes,
he looks tired.
Very tired. He looks
tired. He's
tired. He worked.
He worked.
He
worked.
Day, morning, afternoon. Sometimes when I asked the security team, some of the security team were my friends, some of them are my colleagues. So you ask them what time they retire home. Then the next morning he had to go up again.
Yeah.
In fact, it was fantastic.
Amazing.
You know, the whole thing, we deserve the win
and
the
do.
result that we got.
We do.
You, the media, everywhere you are there.
Yeah.
Even if your ward is having a meeting, you have a media to cover.
Yeah.
The advice was coming, region was involved, national was involved. You know, Tema West, we hosted 2-3 big programs. We had the youth lunch here in Ajekoyo. We had the vice president and her team coming to Tema, Committee 1. And then we had His Excellency himself coming to the periphery again. Yeah. We knew we just wanted to make sure that everybody would give us the result. And so no wonder. So all comments we salute to this evening. We say kudos.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not watering down your opinion on the comrades and the hard work they put into. But my next question is NDC 61% and then MPP 38%. Then again, on initial expectations and on the actual results, what's your take on that?
You know, it was embarrassing when 2016 they were telling us they had won by 1 million votes. They had won by 1 million votes. It was embarrassing. And then we came to 2020, 2022. We looked at the machination, how easy how to declare results 6 times, 7 times. So we didn't actually believe in that. But when we after the result had come, I think Jemima won with about 6.7 million votes, and that was massive. Everything was telling that 2024, the whole country wanted a reset. Everybody wanted a reset. And we were not surprised. If you look at the votes pattern in Tamawe, you realize that the difference between even the candidates, all throughout the president had always gotten more votes than the parliamentary candidate. But this time around, you saw that the drastic change, the fall was that big.
Exactly.
Yeah, the fall, that because if you look at where we were, we got 49,225 as against, I think, 26,000 thereabouts. You realize that it wasn't picking up. So the percentage spended, it was just wonderful. The first percentage we got in this Tema West, for instance, I think it started from 61%. Then their votes started dropping. You realize 2012, we almost got close to, we lost by some 985 votes. And then later came back 2016. Then went back to some 14,000. Then we got Doctor, who also gave us a close to about 2,500 something votes. And so we knew that the trend was this, but this time the votes we got, brother.
Awesome.
See, I do believe it's the percentage. We're looking at some 58, 57 against 40 something percentage, and you could give the 1 or 2 to the backbenchers. But 61 against 38, it was massive. It was massive. So the initial, yes, we knew we were going to win, but we didn't know. I foresee didn't know it was going to be that big. I didn't believe it was going to be that big.
Being on the national campaign team personally, the day of election, I was in the Eastern region. With some of the party executives. And then we were seeing, I think around 11 p.m. 11 p.m. that way. We were seeing people posting on Facebook and all that, and this, and it was all green. And then we were like, are you sure? Are we sure? That's what we said in the car. Are we sure this is the right results? So calls started coming through to some of our big men, and then they confirmed that. Like, what? We knew we were going to win, but this change is.
I mean, 5 plus, so 5 plus 28 will be 32 plus 1, 30. So we won Greater Accra per se for, we had 28 seats out of 34 seats. Massive.
Wow.
Massive. 28 seats in Greater Accra. That was so much. We won all the Eastern Corridor. It was unprecedented. This is like the whole thing was that the MPP government led by His Excellency Akufo-Addo, they had failed, they had disappointed everybody. They had disappointed the working class, the youth, the informer, the farmers, everybody. They had disappointed everybody. The corruption was just too much. The corruption and the stories were just too much. As if there was no tomorrow. And so we even though the results are that big and massive, it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Because it's a lesson to this government as we are now, we are resetting. It's a lesson to every community that's watching. If we mess up Ghanaians, we are not discerning. We won't allow anybody to take us for a ride anymore.
It's true. Okay, we won't allow anyone to take us for that ride. Looking at the coordination of the election, and then the work of the security force headed by IGP Dampare. How will you rate his work towards the coordination of the election?
He had no choice. The will of the people is the will of God. And therefore, when the people say, this is where we are going, there was, we are told ourselves in our spirit, in our mind, that we're not going to allow anybody to intimidate us. So the security, you realize at the collation center, you see their number, but they can't speak, they can't do anything. You see, we have outnumbered everybody. We have about, give or take, about 40,000 men and women in Ghana. Okay, as against the millions of people. The registered voters were around 18 million people. So if you take 18 million people as against 40,000 policemen and women under Dr. George Dampare, they realized that he had nothing. But I like the way the professional way they worked. You didn't see any policeman handling any citizen anywhere. You didn't see the stories back in 2020 where they had to kill people, had to shoot people. You didn't see anything because we were prepared in our mind that we wanted a change and therefore nothing was going to prevent us from that change. Anybody that will come our way, we are going to crush the person because we wanted to reset Ghana. And so I'm sure they had security men. They had picked the signal that Ghanaians were fed up, and therefore any security man that will come our way was going to be crushed by the citizen because the will of the people is the will of God. We say we want to go this way, you can't do anything. The policing center was an example for you. If only you were there, I think I saw you there a day the following day, the day Honorable Ashimo came there, so I saw you there. You realize that the people, they were just sitting down there. We were monitoring the election ourselves. Even though they were there, if you go to police station by police station, I think could do like this, all the 37, we got 38 police stations. You come there, they are just observing. Because the security also wanted a change. Because they had promised them salaries that were not coming. Anytime there was an election, everybody would promise that of an increase. It wouldn't come. The backlogs were more. You take your salary, it was nothing. Some of them are renting. Initially, how much was the rent? Now, how much is the rent? 2-bedroom house in even the periphery. 2-bedroom house is now going for 2,500 cedi. How much the security men could pay? How much is their salary? So they themselves initially, so you meet some of them, they tell you guys should work. Because here you better mobile. But man, you do man, I say, most man, you man, see you are there. Then so they themselves wanted a change. So I think the change. So George Dampare, fine, he performed massively. I like the professional way he commanded his men, but he had no choice. I feel he had no choice than to do what he did. Great. He had no choice.
Nice. So let's come down from the elections down to the swearing in of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Yes. For me, it was awesome. It was one of the fantastic swearing in I've ever seen. What's your take? What's your view on the whole swearing in process?
If you look at from the setup, you see, I was admiring you when you're doing your setup. Look at the setup. I think the setup was done for almost 8 days. Look at the setup. Look at the floor. Look at the position. Everybody was designated to sit at a particular place. Security was on point.
Security.
You could even when initially some years back when we were doing setup, we had the opportunity to even go past there and even take selfie. This time around, it was a no-go area for everybody. You understand me? Security was on point, and then you come to the main event. The main event was one of, since independence, it has never happened. Having a swearing of a president, we had about 24 head of states that came, and then we had about 3 former head of state that came. Almost all our neighbors came. It was a beautiful ceremony, and I'm sure that it only tells us something that our president John Dramani Mahama had prepared behind before coming. The whole setup was done by his team. So it tells us how beautiful he's going to set Ghana. If you could prepare his swearing-in ceremony so beautiful like this, the kind of entourage that came, there was no confusion anywhere. The ambulances were going back and forth. Everybody was designated to sit at a better. You realize that our president was prepared before coming.
Well structured.
And Ba Mutai was on point. Luigi Tameku was on point. All the team that worked on that day. In fact, it was a beautiful ceremony. It sent a signal there. And if you look at even the speech that was given by His Excellency Ahmed Latino, if you listen to her speech, calling on everybody, the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, calling on Africa that this is the time we have to come together. We cannot be playing with the number that we have in Africa. As one of the biggest continents, we can't continue to who we are. We can't continue to wallow in poverty. The speech given by that man was just a calling to everybody that day was another independence for us, and it was another independence for the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
And so it was a beautiful ceremony that everybody, I'm sure if you go on the social media handles, nobody will say anything negative about the program.
Yeah.
Even I watched BBC, also CNN, beautifully spoke about it. In fact, it was on point.
But from my perspective, it looked like the whole of Africa was happy about the exit of the Nana Addo Bawumia regime.
No, who would be happy with such a government? A government that was full of family and friends. We could count about 68 people within the same Nana Addo and Bawumia family, directly within the government. We didn't talk about the national executive yet.
Name 5.
Who do you have? The road minister. He's a lawyer, but Chairman Saluti. You have the housing minister. You know him.
Yeah.
And then you have he's now a de facto president and a de facto minister. You know him. And then we have Nana Santi too. How is he now? I'm sure he's fine. Eh?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure
I've
he's fine.
not really
Nana Santi too. You have the president's cousins with him. When you go to the president's house, his cousins were the one managing his house. If you go to the gaming commission, now you come to Bawumia, His Excellency, his wife Samira's brother. You know his brother was somebody. They went to break a whole building, about 2, 3, 4 buildings because they are coming. See, I could mention. I just don't want to mention names here. But such a government, nobody was. How can you give a contract of almost 34 point something million to your daughter to do?
Yeah.
A woman that could save all of us. How much do you go to borrow? And then you give 34 million to your daughter and miss all the corruption. If I want to mention the corruption now, look at the big hole that is now $58 million.
The National Cathedral.
What can it do for us? Do you even imagine what you can do to us? You can't think about it.
I agree.
58 million. You spend a $12 million on an empty land with 2 trips of sand. An empty land, $12 million. Look at Mustafa Ami. Told us that he had a budget of $8.3 million on just AFCON. And he was happy telling that he has spent over $5 million on this poor performance. Such a government, I think the whole of Africa didn't want that government to just work. You know, if your country is good, it is flexible, you have other countries trading with you. You get it because of the Intercontinental Free Trade Agreement. All other African countries who live behind you must trade with you. If you have a country that we can sell plenty of food, which we spend almost $3 million on plenty of food and jobs alone. Yes, so all the surrounding African countries who have their goods being smuggled to this place when they are hungry. You know, because of power, we had to cut power from the neighboring countries. Some of them didn't get power. Those that were closer to us could get power. But when you go deeper into the Burkina Faso, the Togos, and the Benin, you realize that they didn't have power because some of them were relying on our grid. And our grid was suffering. Even within a week, after Mahama had done bringing almost about 8 independent power producers on board. So you realize that no, these guys are just come to amass wealth for themselves. Looking at the cars they were driving, looking at the state capture. If you come to the 24 estates, then it was a bare land. But as you go there and see the kind of massive road development, the fencing of lands, and so everybody was against them. So that was why every president had come to show solidarity to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama because he fought a good fight. He liberated Africa as a whole.
So looking at the abysmal performance of the Black Stars, and then looking at the E-gates, Terminal 3 E-gates refusing to opening, and then looking at the Parliament, the Kufado's bodyguard collapsing at the State of the Nation's address here. How do you think? I think the soil itself, the Ghana soil itself, has rejected the NPP government. What's your take on that?
So you have just used the right word. You know, it was just unfortunate. Somebody would say that this is a cursed government, but we wouldn't use that harsh word. I would just say that it was just unfortunate that they came to reset us back instead of taking us forward again. I was hearing a senior comment saying the other day that if you come to engineering, the points are from 1 to 0 and from 0 to 1. So some motion could be backwards motion, but it's still a motion.
It's a motion.
So they are taking us on motion, but it was a backwards motion. Because if you look at that E-gate,
Yeah.
If you look at what Ghana had, Ghana Immigration Service was telling her that it was a contract that was around $297 million. We initially was thinking that it was around $240 million. We bought the whole Terminal 3. We used $250 million. Jumama used $250 million to go Terminal 3. Even that it wasn't a loan. You understand? It was on the draw books of Ghana Airport Company Limited. You get it?
Yeah.
And then you are using about 200, almost about 1/3 of that for an e-gate, a contract that, but for Honorable Abuja, we didn't know that there was no contract even signed to that. A contract that civil aviation was ready to do for us free, yeah. And then you were ready to commit the taxpayers' money nearly $300 million. These are wicked people. And that was what I mentioned. I mentioned that you give a budget, this abysmal performed by this Black Star.
Yeah.
You said you spend almost $5 point something million on this. So I think the whole thing put together just was telling them that no, Ghanaians didn't like them, they must go. And it was just unfortunate for the bodyguard to have collapsed on that fateful day. I was telling somebody that this man, everybody says no again. And then I'm sure if we play our cards well as a party, it will be very hard for these people to come back to government. They could maintain some of, now they have 88 men men and women in parliament. We are thinking of reducing them to about 60 as we had some time ago when we started the early democracy. Maybe we could bring them to 30 sometime to come. But all depends on the good way our comments they would do for us. So yes, the Ghanaians didn't like them, the Ghanaian people didn't like them, the world at large didn't like them. He said, go, bye-bye. Yeah. Yes, as they told them in parliament.
Bye-bye. Still in parliament, what do you think about Rebecca Akufo-Addo's reaction to the speaker Bagbin on how he treated, he allowed Akufo-Addo to be treated in parliament?
You know, that's comment, I want to go two sides of it. The woman just demonstrated that she was a woman. And I'm sure as men, those of us that are married, if you could see anybody want to abuse your wife, you will lose your temper at that moment.
Even if you're wrong, or even if she's wrong?
You will lose your temper at that moment. So I think I would pick from that two angles. From the first one was a family angle, because she was Akufo-Addo's, His Excellency's wife before they came to government. And therefore there was that love before they came. So anybody that would want to abuse the wife, she would not allow that person to do it. So it was just unfortunate. The second one, I saw it as an act of frustration. Everybody will get frustrated. You see, it's not easy.
Every MPP at that point.
Every politician. See, it's not easy when you are going to withdraw all these people. Before His Excellency President Akufo-Addo became president, I knew his house. I knew how the place was. There was this cocoa seller in front of his place. But for the mere fact that he became a president, go there and see how the place is now. The whole place is now green. You go there and it has become
which of his houses? Which of the houses?
The one at Nima.
Nima. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
He had become a security zone. You could not pass there, you could not come like this. He's going and the whole entourage is following him. And you look at that withdrawal, and that was the last speech that he was giving. It means that after that speech, we're not going to get that privilege again. You get it? And so that frustration, that pain, that agony, I'm sure also contributed to the way she was reacted. But for me, putting politics aside, I think she acted because our honorable member was trying to disrespect her husband, which she didn't like. That's how I won't be so hard on that. I think I will take him and let her know like that. It was just because of that. But when you come to politics, it's frustration and disappointment. Yeah, because they knew they were going to win. Because if you hear their rhetoric from day one, their stories, their commentary, at the point in time, I was telling myself, what are these people holding on to that they keep telling us that we're going to lose? You know, they were confident that we're going to lose the election. And so having lost, it means that what they had prepared, their plans didn't work. It was frustrating, it was other things. So political, that's what I see it. Yeah, that's what I see.
Oh, okay. So looking at the Messiah, our new Jesus, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, looking at now that he's here and he's resetting the whole country of this MP picks. Hey, we shouldn't say that. MPPs. So, do you think the Black Stars now can perform? Is he resetting the team? Is he resetting the board? I know we have a new minister for sport. Yeah. So what do you think about?
Yeah, well, you see, His Excellency President Mahama has said that he's resetting the whole country. So, from let's take agri from the green, and then we take sports to the creation. That's why we have the Minister of Sports and Recreation. So it means that we are going to recreate everything.
Yeah.
If you listen to him over the week, his rhetoric, his speech, and everything is telling us that no, this is a man that is ready to. I, for when they nominated him, I was like, I didn't like the idea that Randy Abe was taking to Coco, but I was thinking Randy Abe would be taken to sports ministry anyhow.
Sports ministry.
Yeah, but I didn't know why they had to take Dr. Randy Abe to Coco board and then give Kofi Adam back. Looking at the few things that he said over the week tells me that he's ready to do the work. His vetting also reveals some few plans that he had for the country. President Mahama, you know him, during NDC time, we had a whole stadium that was built for us, right? But you have this government that spent a lot of money, but FIFA had to ban us because all our pitches were not good for African football, for the world football. Yeah. So we didn't meet the standard. So if you could have a government that has stayed in power for 8 years, having taken our public debt from 120 to almost 657 billion Ghana cedi, and then we could have a stadium that we could be banned, Ghana could be banned from playing matches here. Yeah. Then it tells us that no, we have a lot to do. But the President John Dramani Mahama, I know him, that from 2012, what he had done, even way back when you hear those from Boli Bambwe, the thing he had done when he was there, and from the ministry when he was a spokesperson for Parliament. In fact, he's a president that, for me, I have so much confidence in him that he's going to reset everything from agric to sports, from the human resources to everything. The appointments that are going on, everything tells you that the gentleman is ready. He will be a no-nonsense president. Don't try him. And we are sure that by the 4 years, Ghana could have a new story to tell. Sure.
Yeah. So my next question is, first, the speaker, from Rebecca to the speaker. Now let's come down to Afenyo Makin, the minority leader, to the speaker. Afenyo Makin said not even the speaker or any other majority member in parliament should refer to them as a micro minority. Let me pick your mind on that.
If I see him, I would have asked him how we should call them. Because I have always been thinking that minority should be around 100 members.
But micro is serious also.
It be serious, but you know.
It means I need this
to have to get majority in parliament is not a joke.
So I need a microscope to see the members of parliament.
It means that the reason we call them the micro minority is that they are minority, but we don't see them.
Yeah.
They have no role to play in parliament.
Yeah.
Because we could decide, God forbid, but should we win Ablekuma coming on board, it means that we are getting 184 members of parliament. Exactly the 2/3 that we need to do everything in parliament. To form quorum and to take decision in parliament. You get it?
Yeah.
All the independents are ready to work with us. We have 5 members, independent members in parliament. And then I think 3 of them are ready to work with us. So putting all those people together, the NDC, so we are calling them the micro because if you need a microscope to watch them, it means that they are here but you don't see them.
They don't matter.
You understand? They don't matter to the politics that we are doing.